Hello do-it-yourselfers. Today we're going to replace a puddle lamp on a 2017 Ford C-Max Energy. This is the stock puddle lamps that came with it, and it's hard to tell from the video, but the light's kind of yellowish, weak, and I don't know, just didn't seem to do the job for me. If you look inside the puddle lamp, you would see that there was a single incandescent bulb that consumes 5 watts but only produces 50 lumens of light. On Amazon, I found this replacement unit made by AOK for only $16.50. It has 18 surface mount device LEDs that consume less than half the power of that single incandescent lamp, and the light is much whiter in temperature and delivers over 300 lumens of light. The replacement device comes in pairs, but I'm only going to demonstrate the install of one of them today. You just need to rinse and repeat for the other side. First thing you're going to want to do is jump in your car and adjust that mirror up as far as it's going to go so you can access the lamp assembly easily. The secret to getting the lamp assembly to let go is to push this retaining clip in as you apply downward pressure to the assembly. You can push the side mirror forward a bit if you need to get a better working angle, but the objective here is to slide that screwdriver so it pushes that retaining clip out of the way, and then apply enough downward pressure to begin to push it out. Please be careful not to push too hard on the mirror because your $16.50 upgrade will cost you much more when you have to order that replacement mirror. Once you get enough of the assembly started, you can persuade it out by grabbing it from the bottom and pulling it downward. And here we go. It's out. Next thing you're going to want to do is just pull the wires out just a little bit, and then you can just grab the assembly and twist the light out. It would be cool if the new assembly had a connector you could just slide into this old base, but that is not the case. So we're going to have to cut off the old lamp base so we can solder it to the new lamp assembly. It may be hard to tell in this light, but there is a purple and a white wire that go to the old lamp base. The purple wire is positive and the white is ground or negative. This is important to note because polarity matters when you're installing LEDs. So I want to cut off the old assembly and strip the wires back just a little bit so we can have some exposed copper to work with. And on the new LED assembly, I'm going to need to cut off those spade connectors because they just don't help in our installation for this vehicle at least. And then I'm going to strip back the ends here also. If I had a helper to hold the wires that I'm going to be soldering together for me, I could probably skip this step, but it's just me today. What I want to do is heat up the exposed copper on the ends of these wires and melt some solder onto them. This will make soldering the two wires together possible if you're working alone. Should kind of look like this when you're done. Next, I'm going to do the same exact thing on the two wires on the vehicle. Just getting these tinned with some solder. And next, I'm going to cut a couple pieces of heat shrink tubing so I can make sure my conductive wires are insulated from touching any other conductive surface and shorting out this circuit. The idea is after we solder the wires together, the heat shrink tubing will completely cover our exposed wires. And now we just need to keep a steady hand and carefully get both wires hot enough to get the solder to soften up, and then pull the iron away so the solder goes back to a solid, hopefully, while they're still connected. You want to solder the black wire to the white wire and the red wire to the purple wire. And before we heat shrink this up, let's just make sure it works. Make sure you don't let the exposed wires touch each other, and click the unlock button on your key to make the puddle lamp turn on. I'm going to turn off my shop light for a second so we can make this even more dramatic. And now that our test worked, I'm going to apply heat to the heat shrink tubing so that it contracts tightly onto the wires. You can get heat shrink tubing at Harbor Freight or hardware stores. But if you're too lazy or too cheap, you can just use electrical tape too. I really like to use heat shrink when I'm working on anything that's going to be exposed, like these wires will be. And that's it really. The last thing to do is just to stuff the wires back in, and then to get it to snap into place. It takes a bit of finessing. Get it just right. You got to push that tab in and get it to snap into place. And that's all there is to it. Now go out at night and enjoy the super bright lights that will, I guess, help you avoid stepping into puddles. Anyways, these lights work dramatically better than the stock incandescent lamp that it came with. Plus, you're using less energy and they should last for years and years. Thank you very much for watching.